The battle with Katakuri the Mochi Man explodes off the screen as Luffy finally unleashes the power of Gear 4th Snakeman. Was it worth the wait? Ahoy, my fellow salty sea dogs! It's time to take a look at another episode of the One Piece anime series. Easily, I think, the most anticipated episode of the entire Whole Cake Island arc. It is when Luffy finally reveals his hidden trump card against Katakuri. It is none other than the Gear 4th Snakeman, and this is an awesome looking ability. Not drastically different from the initial Gear 4th form, basically just being a skinny version of that. But because of that, it is a lot of compacted power, and it's also going to allow Luffy to move at practically like the speed of light. But most importantly, it gives him the qualities of a snake, which means he's able to ricochet his punches in multiple directions, and this completely throws off Katakuri. But at the same time, this is when Katakuri finally starts to get serious, and the battle that ensues, my friends, is without a doubt one of the greatest action episodes from the entire franchise. I don't want to be jumping the gun too early, but like, if I had like a top 10 favorite Luffy battles, this would easily be there. This would probably be in the top 5. It was so stylistic and crazy and exaggerated, and we've seen a lot of that from the One Piece series, but something about this one just really hit hard, and both characters got to do amazing things. That's what I really loved about this episode. I mean, a lot of the hype was built around finally getting to see Luffy use the Snakeman, and it looked cool, and the transformation sequence, man, was fucking solid. It looked so cool. I loved the look of the smoke, how it took the form of snakes, eventually transforming into what looks like a giant cobra hanging out above his head. But Katakuri was also such a badass in this episode, at first being a little confused at how Luffy was attacking him, ricocheting his punches, but he quickly adapts, utilizing his ability to see in the future, and then that's when the characters just start running into each other and shit just starts exploding. It's like something on like Dragon Ball scale level. There are so many highlights from this fight that honestly, I can't do them justice on my own. It's simply something that you kind of have to see for yourself, but I have a lot of favorite moments from this fight, so let's go ahead and talk about them. The initial hit that Luffy actually gets on Katakuri is great, as it ends up just sending him flying like through all of these pillars as he just skids across. But it's finally when we got to see Katakuri fighting back that I think got really impressive, because he utilized this one big attack where his arm basically transforms into a giant sticky flail, which he uses to grab onto Luffy, swinging him around wildly before he slams him into the ground, creating a crater which seems to go on for fucking ever. I especially love that all of Luffy's attacks are themed after snakes, and they all have really cool names, one of them being the Black Mamba, which is really awesome, but I think it was the King Cobra that really impressed me the most, because it just went full-on G Gundam during this scene. Like, they just didn't give a fuck. Like, he just started to do a big punch attack that suddenly transforms into a giant golden cobra for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that it just looks really fucking cool, and it totally worked during this entire scene. And again, like I said, even though Luffy's being awesome here, freaking Katakuri is able to fight back as well. What's great about this big attack is that it basically just looks like just a barrage of gunshots are constantly plowing into Katakuri, but eventually he starts to run through them, occasionally getting tripped or hit, but he's even able to utilize his abilities to transform into Mochi and to just dodge all of these attacks as they're actually hitting him. It's so insane and fast-paced, and honestly, maybe the craziest battle from the entire series as far as speed actually goes. This really did live up to the hype of the manga in every single way, and honestly, I think I loved it a little bit more than that. The music also amplified it a little bit, the voice acting always helps, seeing it in color is great, but it was expertly animated, and I'm glad that they didn't sort of hold back, and they gave us something really unique that we haven't seen from, like, a Luffy battle thus far. Like I said, maybe it's just, you know, just that I just got done watching the episode and I'm really pumped about it, but man, this fight was just really fucking rad. I absolutely loved it. There's a couple more parts of the episode which are okay at best, basically more of the same material, but it is pushing the story ahead a little bit more. There is a small intermission with Pudding and Sanji as they're riding on Rabian, the magic flying carpet, as they're trying to escape the view of Oven and all of his goons, and they manage to make it there. But basically the entire scene is just more of the same. Switching between her two personalities, one minute being incredibly doofy, being in love with Sanji, and the next being a vindictive bitch. Your mileage will vary on how much you love these characters. I was just waiting to get back to the Luffy versus Katakuri fight. There's also a few scenes that are bookending throughout the entire episode of Rayleigh, with him teaching Luffy for the very first time, just establishing that this Obi-Wan Kenobi-esque character is still a fucking badass, and still is like one of the strongest characters in the series, which is kind of hard to fathom. But even at the end, as he's hanging out at Shaky's bar, and he's like having a drink, and he's just like toasting to Luffy, knowing that he's about to kick someone's ass. It's just so damn good. This entire episode was just handled with gusto. What's the rundown on this episode of One Piece? Really, I can't say any more than that. It's a real simple episode. It's just Luffy displaying a brand new form, which is not that drastically different, but man, it works. The whole snake theme was great. That transformation sequence was legendary. I hope they're not going to go cheap on us like they do with Gear 4th, where every time he uses it from now on, they're going to reuse that same sequence. They probably will. The good news is, if we are going to see it again, at least it looks really damn awesome. Like I said, the snake and the smoke and everything just really worked for me, and actually getting to see like the Black Mamba and the King Cobra, like the King Cobra, that scene right there really sold me on just how good it looked, and Katakuri as he was dodging all of those attacks at once. That was just immensely satisfying. I loved that. And seeing the two characters just collide with one another, with Katakuri using this technique which actually like heats up his arm, and then they both hit each other at the same time, just bah! That shit just explodes off, guys. Just ugh, I loved this episode of One Piece. Really, this is the type of review where I just kind of gush about what I saw. That's what I'm saying here. It was awesome. I loved it. Even with some of the slower scenes and the intermission and the Rayleigh stuff, this was a solid experience, and without a shadow of a doubt, an episode of One Piece that all fans need to watch at least once. I honestly think it's one of the best fights from the entire series. And what's even crazier is that the fight itself is still not over. There's still going to be some like pretty good material to see left, but man, this one right here, just I loved it. 5 out of 5. I'd love to get all of your thoughts about it. You can tell me all of them in the comment section below. What you guys hope to see from the rest of the One Piece series, and I want to hear your thoughts about this episode. Did you like the episode? Am I overhyping it a bit too much? Do you think it's better than the manga version? Do you have any favorite moments? What do you want to see from the rest of the battle between Luffy and Katakuri? Yes, it is continuing. Let's just get a discussion going all about that fight and more. Let's keep the discussion alive, guys. Thank you all for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay Dan down, baby.